He's not the best at titles. He's not the best at NBA.
Be live things when we're doing live reactions to music. Yes, sir. How does it feel, my G? Cat's Eye coming in live with that big noise. Cat's Eye.
Hey, listen. I feel amazing, bro. It's been too long, first and foremost.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what time it is when you hear that. You know what time it is when you hear that now. You know what I'm saying? It's definitely been a long time, man. I can't even tell you when the last episode was. But one thing about this podcast, man, just always have TBD at the end of that. Because we always coming back. Believe that if you don't believe nothing else. We coming back, man. We back at it again. It's a three-way again. Pause on that. That was crazy.
Yo, what?
That's crazy, dog.
That's flagrant.
Man, it's your boy Word. Back at it again on the Word of Clarity podcast, man, with my boy Kenny G. Down in the BX, but he really from the TX. And we got O'Darrow, man. DJ Darrow, man. What's poppin' with y'all cats, though, man? How cats feeling, man? It's been a minute.
Been good, man. Been good. Chilling. Hey, look, I'm ready to get straight to it. There's been so much that happened, from Drizzy, the album release, LeBron, we got so much we got to get to.
No.
What's that? What he about to say?
What?
I wish you would. I have not seen DJ Darrow since he tried to tell me Drake is doing this for the entire community, and this lawsuit is for generations upon generations of African Americans.
Oh my God! This man here lying like Joe Budden.
I told you
like Joe Budden.
This was a defamation suit, and that's exactly what it was.
Wow!
I can't wait to get on you in a minute, bro. Pause. But let's go. Let's go, bro. Let's go. It's
been a minute, man. I believe this is episode 26. I would have said 26 to 25. So it feels good, man, to be live back in the building, man. Word of Clarity Pod is back, man. Yeah, man. Like Darryl just said, been a lot moving, dog. We in the middle of March Madness, actually coming to the closure of it almost. When is the next set of games lined up? We in the Final Four now, right?
Yeah,
Saturday, right?
Saturday. Okay.
Hold on.
We got
word.
What?
Can I get this off real quick?
What's up?
March Madness?
Talk to him.
What we talking about?
All right. First, I gotta say shout out to my alma mater, Texas Tech University, Wreckham. You already know what the deal is. We had a great run, very successful season. But listen, even though I rep Texas Tech, I'm still from Houston, so it's still go Cougs. So they already know what's finna happen. Know what's finna happen. That's it.
This nigga sound like a Clippers fan. Even though I'm a Clippers fan, we gonna celebrate the Lakers winning. I told this nigga, dog, in the pre-show, ain't no way niggas got two squads just in case one squad go down, they gonna get on the...
That's not what it is. That's not what it is.
That's crazy work, dog. What is that? Come on, man.
Listen,
say what you want.
I will say this, though that is diabolical that you got two squads. It's
diabolical.
Even though that's the case, I have to agree. If you told me right now that you had Houston in the NCAA championship to win it all, I would absolutely agree. Their defense is stifling. Of course, Cooper Flagg is the best player in the country, number one pick, hands down.
Okay.
I think that boy's going to end up in Utah, unfortunately. He gonna end up in Utah, unfortunately. But outside of that, he is who he is. But I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like, my money's on Houston, and I'm not saying that just because I'm in the city. I watch that team play, and I go, Kelvin Sampson got them boys looking. It's different over there. It's different over there, bro. That defense is different, and so the only team that I think can potentially run through and just shatter everything is Duke. But if it's not Duke, it's Houston. That's what I'm looking at as far as March Madness is concerned.
Yeah, man. So in other words, you saying Cooper Flagg is just gonna be Gordon Hayward 2.0, huh?
Low key. Hey, low key. Gordon Hayward with a little bit more athleticism. Absolutely.
A little bit more athleticism. I like Cooper, man.
Hey, but you know what? That ain't no bad career. Gordon Hayward was giving folks buckets before. You know what I mean? But back in Utah, he was doing his job. So
yeah, prior to his injury,
that's not a
man.
bad career.
Yeah. Prior to his injury, he was a cold white boy. I give him that. He was cold.
Absolutely.
But yeah, man, we in the Final Four, March Madness. They said this is been the first time in years since the Final Four were number one seeds. We got Auburn, Duke, Florida, and Houston. If I had to put my money on it, yeah, man, I probably just would go with Cooper, man. I'm a Surface fan. I had a bracket. I had a bracket and it was going pretty good. I think I'm in the top 3 still. So as far as like my company, but yeah, man, it looks like it's gonna be one of the ones if you got 4 number one seeds. So yeah, man.
Did you have or both of y'all, I guess, did y'all expect for essentially the committee to get it right? 4 number one seeds being at the end, that hasn't happened in years. And so,
yeah.
Did you anticipate if you peered in or tapped in a little bit just to see what was going on? Did you anticipate that it would go as smooth and that we would have 4 number ones, jumping into the Final Four? Did y'all anticipate that?
Not this way.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you watch college basketball, which I'm a very big fan of college basketball. As I said, I got 2 teams that I rock with. But if you watch college basketball, I think it's very apparent that the skill level, not only in addition to the COVID year, has really changed college basketball in a lot of ways because, one, players are more willing to stay a little bit longer because they actually get paid. So you see the talent in college basketball has increased significantly. So I think the top teams are just better than they used to be. I think a good example is Arizona. What's the guy from St. Louis?
Caleb Love.
Caleb Love. I think in the past, someone like him would have either gone to the draft or had gone to the league already. But with the NIL, he's been able to stay. And man, he a certified bucket. He was given. I'm pretty sure he was playing against Duke. He was giving him trouble. He was really going crazy. So
and Caleb would kill him.
I was not surprised. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a good
word. Word told me to tap in with Caleb, and I'm not gonna lie, he's a dog. You just want to talk about somebody. There's a few dudes that I'm impressed with. Just since we're on the subject of college basketball, that I think cats should look out for. Obviously you got Cooper, Ace Bailey, the Rutgers boys. So Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, who are going to be super tough in the league. There's a kid from Baylor. What's the freshman from Baylor who I like? He got an African last name. Tough, super tough kid.
Who is that?
Can't think of his name right now, but I wanted to give him a shout out. Baylor. He's a guard or a forward from Baylor. He's super tough, freshman. He's only going to be one and done. He was giving cats nothing but buckets in the Big 12. He was going crazy. There's just a few dudes to look out for. College basketball, from the time that I've tapped in, I've been more focused on the league this year than most years, but this is going to be an excellent draft. Tons of talent. If you got a top 5 pick, you're gonna be good with whoever you come out with. Even if you don't get Cooper or Ace, you're still gonna get somebody who can come in right away and get you buckets. Then you got dudes like Caleb who should be in the top 10 as well, top 12, who are gonna be ready to go. So the league,
you got to add Derek Queen to that.
Huh?
You got to add Derek Queen to that. The freshman from Maryland.
He's tough. Again, this is a good draft. Last year's draft was so piss poor, we don't even check on the number 1 pick. Does anybody ask you about Zach Reese-Shea? No, not at all. You know what I'm saying? We don't care what Alex Starr is. Yeah, we don't care what Alex Starr is doing in Washington, bro. We care more about Bronny than we care about both of them dudes. So that's how bad the draft was last year.
Woo.
Word, go ahead. Word, that's a layup. Go ahead.
What's the layup for, man? You ready?
Come on, bro. You already know what we're trying to. You know what you're trying to get to. Come on.
All right, hold on, man. Let's start out a little wide before we get to where we want to go. Hold up, man. This is still a segue in. You'll appreciate this one though. Give me 1 second, man. Let me pull this clip up. I thought it was pretty. Informative on the Joe Budden podcast, noticing what was going on over in the ESPN networks. And they did a little recap of kind of and honestly, I honestly think you can say what they said about this about more than just the ESPN. This happened in a lot of places.
I had to show you Stephen A. speak to Kai Cenat about who's better, LeBron and Jordan. There are no real conversations about Houston's 10-game winning streak, the turnaround that Detroit has had. Like, there's so many dope stories to have. That's not what ESPN is doing.
No, they're doing content-y shit.
ESPN is doing content-y,
headline,
clickbaity, headline, and when you do that, you're gonna find your people to fucking harp on. I've done it before.
Stay here, though.
Look, I don't think Jason Tatum deserved none of that shit that they did, but that was the hot story with Steve Kerr and the Dream Team. There's a bunch of these stories.
Look at him. Yeah, man. So, that was a recent clip they put out, I think, on one of the recent episodes that just dropped. And, it's just kind of talking about, honestly, a lot of these places being comfortable enough to just kind of air out their dirty laundry. This not only made me think about ESPN, but it also made me think about what was going on at Breakfast Club with Lauren and Just Hilarious. When you seen that whole debacle go back in front of them. I thought that for sure. Now, what ESPN, I can see that being more like the normal thing as far as like creating topics around things that are just more clickbaity. What happened over at Breakfast Club, I felt really only should happen behind closed doors. Like, but then again, it did make a lot of great entertainment. It did drive a lot of traffic, and they are spinning it now. I think it does put like a stain on people that really do that real time journalism and like go and dig up the names that ain't the most biggest, like clout chasey, clickbaity topics. But I think this whole new media versus old media has really created a conversation that I think is going to be really interesting to see how everything unfolds over the next 5-10 years or so with everything. What's your thoughts on it, though?
I want to ask you a question in regards to that word real quick.
Yeah.
So Queen's Flip, he's real heavy on COE, content over everything.
Yeah.
Where do you think, and this is for both of y'all, where do y'all think the in-between is between COE and proper journalism? Like, where does that balance come?
Yeah, that's a good one, man. What's going to come top of the mind for you, Kenny?
Yeah, I think for me, bro, it's pretty simple, right? Content should not take chief precedence over integrity. So I think like what Katz is doing as it pertains to like doing anything in order to build out a story or doing things that kind of like water down the media, like I tend to agree with him, bro. There's storylines that we should be covering. There's things that we should be tackling. But in the name of content, it's like, well, if this becomes something that people will click on most, this is what we got to give them. But I think that's also the problem. Like we're like the average sports fan, the average person, I think is much more dumb than they used to be because we've stuck to the rule of content over everything. We don't have people who really enjoy the sport anymore. I actually think, to be honest with you, that's why the league's ratings for a time, and I don't know if they're still suffering, but for a time, the interest in the league was dwindling. Because people the NBA was more concerned about content, or at least the storylines that were covering the NBA were more concerned about content than the actual players and making them stars, the actual teams and what was going on in play. So Cass didn't really care that the fact that Cleveland was winning like 20 games straight and SGA was playing the best basketball of his life and Jokic was doing 30, 20, and 20 in his sleep. We was too focused on foolishness, and now it's like that's what you get when you choose content over everything else. That's just for me personally.
Yeah, I agree. That definitely I agree. Depending on the context of where the content is being pushed or manufactured for. Like if for the NBA, that's real cheap. Like that's real. Like counter. I'm totally against it in that realm. But I get it. Most of these industries and these things of forms of entertainment are more business than it is a sport or it is music or a craft. So anytime something becomes monetized and money's behind it, different agendas start to take the priority over than the actual origins of why that even became what it is. And so for me, how I try to look at it is like, I'm cool if, like, for somebody like Flip, I actually adopted some of his approach on content with some of the things that I do. It's not content over everything, but the mentality of that being instilled when trying to produce something, I think is something that you should have some consideration for, because you don't want to be in a place where you're making products or things that are solely based on what you feel people will like from you versus what you want to make despite what people even have to say about it. And I think finding that balance between those two things, like the demands and your desires, is like the perfect combination of those both things, into where you would always still feel like people are appreciating what you do, and you also are still in love with what you do. And a lot of times when you get money, though, you know, that can have you compromise that. If they say sign a contract and you owe me X amount of albums or X amount of engagement on this, you're going to do anything in your nature to try to get that, rather if you actually are in this space to want to actually do that. The people that come to mind, I think, that do it the best, I think Joe Budden has been like the idol for me when it comes to that, or somebody I admired the most when it comes to having that conversation out publicly and him being transparent enough for us to understand where he is in that process, but also having the body of work to show us what that actually looks like. Even with but that's even before the podcast. That goes back to him as an artist. You know what I mean? Like, it's not content, but it was music, and the demands of the label was trying to force you to do something. And how does that measure up with where I actually am? Okay, well, I'm willing to die and sacrifice fans and publicity, not fans, but publicity, or being put out on a billboard, because that ain't checking out with me. You know what I mean? And so somebody that fights for that, I can always rock with.
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways, this is also a generational divide, in my opinion. A lot of times I think TikTok has been very interesting because if you look at the way that the content on TikTok is, you know, given in comparison to a lot of the meta platforms like IG, Facebook, is less polished. You know, it's more raw or more authentic. And I think when you look at the Gen Z culture that grew up on the internet, they have a better filter for being able to kind of look past that BS. Like, they're able to look past something that feels more formulated or just something that's all for clicks. So I think all in all, it's almost kind of like drinking salt water. Like, you're going to eventually kill yourself. You're going to eventually kill your content and your credibility, because that's what matters at the end of the day. Like, the goal is not to go viral. The goal is to put out good products that your fans will eventually, you know, go to on a consistent basis. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good conversation. Like, we can have a whole pod on that for sure and do case studies on that all day. I love it because internally and with myself, I do that on the daily. Like, in a fight for who I am in the audience I'm putting out these things. Like, you have to fight to be yourself. Like, if you don't, you can get caught up with like that just leading you astray, and you don't know what you're doing and who you are after so long. And because of the benefits of the things you may receive, you may start to think that's what you really want because of those benefits. But truly, you can lose yourself in all that. But I played that, man, because, you know, there's no other story bigger than the one that we're in right now for sports. I would argue, or even probably just conventionally say, this has been the biggest story in the NBA for sure this year. None other than the LeBron, Stephen A. SAS standoff. I don't know what game this was. What was this? Whatever game that was, we lost. It was weeks ago. And LeBron in the third quarter. It was the game where he actually...
New York Knicks. Yeah, I got you.
Is that the same game where LeBron got the groin injury as well?
No.
It wasn't? Okay, I thought it was for some reason. But yeah, man, it was weeks ago, man. You know, LeBron decided to approach Stephen A. Obviously, unplanned or unexpected, I should say, by Stephen A. Because we'll get into it later. Stephen A. has a theory of his own where he believed this was premeditated days or weeks before this. And there's a plethora of other information that can support that theory or conspiracy, if you will. But yeah, man, you know, a few weeks ago, LeBron, Stephen A. have a standoff. This is around Stephen A. comments about Bronny and LeBron James, the father, and Bron having a problem with Stephen A. and how he's, you know, I'm still a little bit gray on even trying to paint exactly the entire issue. But it's around Bron as a father. Stephen A. comments on his son and him being in the league and the pressure he's put on his son. And because of that, the criticism that has been raining down on Bronny thus far. What was y'all initial thoughts when this happened, man? Take us back a few weeks ago.
Let me just say this, man. I've realized over this back and forth something very, very pivotal, man. Can I get my camera, man? Can I get my camera for a second, bro? Because
you need a solo.
Yeah, let me get a solo. This needs to be said, bro.
Let's see if we can. Hold on, man. Hold on,
give me right. It's cool. Give me right. It's cool. I'll wait. Give me right.
Cats want that solo today, boy. Okay.
It's making me think that you on Stephen A's side because this is the classic Stephen A move.
Yeah, this is Stephen A. This is some Stephen A. stuff right here. There you go.
Yeah. So I'm glad. First of all, fellas, thank you for allowing me to start this segment. And there's a few things that need to be addressed. I've made no qualms about it, man. I don't want to get political or anything like that. I got respect for all people groups. I got respect for men, women, and children. I believe they should, women and children should be protected at all costs. I don't have to agree with the lifestyle to have respect for the LGBTQIA community. But I've realized that there is a new group that has emerged that needs to be added. And it's the bronsexuals, bro, who have made excuses for LeBron James.
I knew that was coming.
I have no idea what is happening here, bro. But this is as clear as day to me. Stephen A. Smith has every right to cover the game, to talk about LeBron James, and to talk about his kid, who up until 2 weeks ago was a grown man, a member of the Los Angeles Lakers, and sucked in the NBA. This some dudes from the neighborhood who I grew up in, bro, that I think would have gave Bronny the business before, if I'm just being honest. But now all of a sudden, we got to make concessions because this is LeBron James' kid. Absolutely not. He didn't say anything personal. And I hate this argument that bronsexuals make, which is, he said as a father. As a father. Bro, he didn't say as a father because he was talking about, the way you raised Bronny or the type of kid he was or his morals or who he was as a man in his integrity. He was saying, as a father, your kid is not ready to play in the NBA. Get him off the court. You got him playing backup point guard against legitimate teams. Matter of fact, let me just say this. This is my last point, and I'm going to let y'all take it over. Do you understand that during the Summer League, there was so much hype around Bronny? ESPN covered the game. It was prime time. He did a dunk in the layup line. Cats wanted to put him in the Hall of Fame. And I remember the game because he was playing against the Houston Rockets. And there's a kid who comes from Kentucky. His name is Reed Shepherd. And on this day, when Reed Shepherd looked across the court and he seen Bronny James, he didn't see another basketball player. He seen food because he proceeded to destroy him for 48 minutes of his Summer League game. He gave him crossovers from left to right hand, spin moves. Bronny was so bad in that game defensively as a defensive stopper, NBA comp, Drew Holiday. He was so bad in that game, he made Reed Shepherd look like the reincarnation of Larry Bird. And Stephen A. didn't say a word. Stephen A. was silent until it had to be said because he was averaging 0 points, 0 rebounds, and 0 assists and getting NBA minutes. I don't want to hear. Listen, if I hear anything contrary to what I'm saying, I promise you, this won't even be the most entertainment segment as we cover this. I'm done, fellas. Thank you for my camera.
Go ahead, man. We going straight to you, man. You're the. I ain't gonna call you that, but you're the advocate of the LeBron stand on this podcast. So it's only right for you to come to that defense if you have a defense, or just say your piece about G. Let me know if you need the solo or not.
No, watch your mouth, Daryl. Watch your
mouth. No. You can give me the solo. I'm going to start off with a quote, because as LeBron fans, we like to use education as a comparison to the older generation likes to use emotion. So Michael Wilbon, I don't know if you guys know of him, but he had this great quote. He said, I have a 17-year-old son, so this matters to me. I'm particularly sensitive to it. I'd do anything for my kid. And I would have hugged LeBron for what he did for his kid. There were shows that talked about Bronny every day. You know what shows I'm talking about. I don't care if my bosses get mad. They would try to get Tony and me to talk about it. No, we were not going to do it. They talked about him more than Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. That's pardoning. This is all pandering. Let me be clear. Our business is a piece of blank a lot of days. So, Kenny, I appreciate you for being honest. But you're wrong. Because there's so many different angles for me to take at this, but I'll take this one. So, as my day job, I work in finance. I work in the financial services industry. And it's been very eye-opening for me as a young professional to understand that there's things that you have to do when you have industry relationships. There are some things that I cannot, nor should I say publicly because of my industry. That is just a reality because of industry relationships that I have. So, Kenny, I would consider us friends. If you had a child, right, and your child were in the league, even if your child sucked, that would influence the way that I spoke about your child, right, wrong, or indifferent. Correct? Is that a fair thing to do? Even though if your son sucked, he was missing every shot, that's going to change the way that I'm going to speak about your son's play. And Stephen A. Smith and a lot of other analysts did not give that same grace to LeBron James and his child. The same way that I would also push back on a lot of these coaches who are hiding behind their hate for Deion Sanders and actually placing it on Shador. That's weird. You're talking about a child. You're talking about a young man. Why is it that Bronny was the number 55 pick in the league? Why are you talking about him more than you're talking about MVP candidates? Can you answer me?
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you
Well, first, before I respond to this, I do want to make sure that you have like made your point and solidified, because I don't want to get ahead, and I want to answer what you're saying, but I want to make sure that you have the floor in the way that you want the floor.
I mean, I got more I want to say, but I'm trying to ask you a question.
We can take it tip by tip. Go ahead and get to the gusto.
Pause.
So here's my problem. One, let me just say, I think you're a great addition to this show, right? And you're right, bro. I would say that, you know, we are friends, bro, and I do think that would affect the way that you spoke about my son. Okay, cool. But you started your soliloquy by saying some people, like my generation, use facts and others use emotion.
Yes.
Your argument for the past 7 minutes was full of emotion. Oh, if we were friends and your son was terrible, but we had a relationship, maybe that would change the aspects in which me and you speak. No, bro, that's emotion. Here's the facts. I hate the fact that people in your space, which is people who love Bron, I call them the Bron sexuals. I won't do that to you, but those who love Bron to the degree that they love him, love to use this argument about he's the 55th pick. He's the 55th pick. Here's my problem, and then I'm gonna give you back the floor. Daryl, can I ask you a question real quick? And this is just yes or no.
Go ahead.
Do you know any other 55th picks who have their own commercials?
No. Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I
real
do.
quick.
Yes, I do.
Who? Tell me. No, I'm talking about the rookie season. So please go ahead.
Rookie season?
Rookie season. 55th pick.
What does that have to do with this argument?
Oh no, I'm about to tell you. So you said no. Do you know any other 55th picks who make roughly $15 to $20 million that don't come from their NBA salary? Do you know anybody else who's in that space?
That doesn't come from their NBA salary.
Right.
Nah, I don't know of any.
Okay. Oh, so there's a reason why I'm making this point. Let me go ahead and wrap this up by saying this.
Oh my gosh.
If he's the 55th pick and you're saying it's weird that we're talking about him more than Shea, it's weird that we're giving him this much attention, but it's not weird for a 55th pick to have their own Nike commercials, gaming commercials, sports drink commercials, make $20+ million off of the court, and garner that attention to when his pockets can be filled due to the nepotism. That's not wrong, by the way. I think everybody should take advantage of nepotism if you can. So that's not what I'm talking about. But if he's allowed to make that much money and allowed to receive that much attention off the court. But when we start talking about that same 55th pick on the court, it's weird because he's a 55th pick. And what other 55th pick gets those level of expectations? Well, what other 55th pick comes with that level of cachet? What other 55th pick makes that amount of money? What other 55th pick is that marketable or gets to benefit from a marketability of their father? Oh, I don't know one, and neither do you. But yet, all of a sudden, you feel bad being criticized as a 55th pick. Hell no.
No, I'm about to take care of this.
You deserve to be criticized. If you play professional sports, you deserve to be criticized. Period.
I'm asking one question.
Not bad, but
I'm asking one question. No, word. This is going to be quick. I'm asking one question. If Draymond Green's son was the 55th pick, you think Stephen A. Smith will talk like this?
If who?
If Draymond Green's son was the number 55 pick, would Stephen A. Smith be talking like this? Answer that for me.
No, he wouldn't. No, he wouldn't.
Case closed. And you talking about the greatest NBA player to ever live. You better put some respect on him and his son name. What are you talking about? He's one of the sole reasons why you're even able to get the salary that you get today. And if LeBron James wanted to have it his way, he could end Stephen A. Smith's whole career at ESPN. You didn't think that listen, look.
All right, now see, this is I gotta get into this. This is becoming crazy.
Let me finish. Y'all don't think him sitting down with Pat McAfee was not a strategic move? Y'all don't think that was a strategic move? You don't understand that Stephen A. Smith has beef with one dude on ESPN. Who is it? Pat McAfee? Just imagine if LeBron said, you know what? For my last season in the NBA, every week I'm gonna sit down with Pat McAfee like Aaron Rodgers did. What do you think that would do to First Take? You don't think that would move? Oh my gosh.
It wouldn't.
Bro, they would get first take off of primetime TV. I'm telling you that. They would get first take off of primetime TV.
They wouldn't, bro. First of all, I don't want to see LeBron. I don't even watch. Look, that's what I'm saying. First of all, Pat McAfee automatically sits in. He don't even sit nowhere in my chest. Pause. My heart. None of that. I don't have no admiration or anything to bring me to him outside of a guest like LeBron for that situation. I'm not. And then here's the other thing. LeBron, bro, I don't want to see LeBron talk for 10 hours on airwaves every morning. That's not gonna happen. Nobody wants to desire to see that. It's many cats, bro. How many do you know how many haters and people that can't stand LeBron because he be lying so much? He lied too much. And that's a big point in this when we get into this later. That's fine, bro. I'm trying to tell you, bro, that's a big point. But anyways, if you think the statement that you think LeBron would end Stephen A was blasphemous, bro. Come on now.
Bro, you're talking about bro, LeBron James has held the NBA player on him. He's held the NBA on his shoulder since he was 18.
No, he hasn't. Nigga, it was a Kobe Bryant before this nigga. You nuts?
You tripping?
What the hell are you talking about? You about to get put off the podcast, nigga. What are you talking about?
You want to talk facts?
Held the face? Do you know what?
18. What are you talking about?
Daryl, do you want to talk facts?
He held the lead. He was in Cleveland, bro. Niggas wasn't watching that.
Let's talk facts. Let's talk facts.
He came.
Let's talk facts. Gilbert Arenas.
Kobe had a case. Kobe had a case. What are we talking about, bro?
Right. So when you look at the most influential players in the history, who's on that list? Michael Jordan, Steph Curry, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James. What is the reason for? Because he had a case, nigga? What are we talking about? You about to get your jersey ripped off your back and turn that Texas upside down, nigga. Just like this LA. Your head gonna look just like mine, nigga. Before Kobe passed away, you know they were still bringing up those allegations. What about those allegations defamed him as a face, though? We're talking about, you said LeBron held the league up since he was 18. Hold on, you said LeBron held the league up since he was 18. I said there was a Kobe before him, right? Where was your boy at in Cleveland in 2003? He wasn't relevant. He didn't even make the playoffs, right? He didn't make the playoffs. He wasn't winning.
Oh my God, bro. Y'all tripping.
Nobody's tripping, bro. You're talking about where LeBron ascended to.
What are you talking about?
You talking about where he ascended.
What?
You talking about where he ascended to. LeBron didn't start getting rings until he went to Miami. Come on, bro. Let's be real. He wasn't a face at that point.
Okay, so now listen, you talking about being the face versus getting rings. Those are two different things.
Right, and you don't start doing that until you start getting rings.
That is not true.
Tell me somebody that would. Give me somebody that has been the face prior to being seen as a champion. Just give me somebody.
LeBron James.
And that's not true. I'm telling you right now.
Okay, let me finish. LeBron, and let me say this. Majority of the time, whenever they crown somebody as being heir to being the face of the league, they have not always won championships. And I think Zion.
In modern basketball.
Let me explain. Let me finish. Someone like Zion Williamson is a good example. Zion never won. I'm not saying that. But the league was willing to crown Zion as the face of the league. He was the next one. Someone like Ja Morant, before he won a ring, we were ready to crown him as the next face of the league.
Hold on. You're naming people. These are not facts. You're naming people that we consider to say who could be the next, right? If we're still sitting here right now saying LeBron James and Stephen Curry is still the faces, and it's many of people saying there's nobody to hand it to. What are we saying? The face hasn't arisen yet, right? Yeah. We're saying that. Nobody else has won a championship that is considered to be the face outside of Jason Tatum, which is why he's the number one person I advocate for as the face. You didn't say that about
yourself.
I'm not lying. I've never said I never said Ja Morant was the face. I never said Zion Williams was the face. I never said Anthony Edwards was the face. None of these guys, because you have to start winning. Answer the question.
Jason Tatum will never be the face of the league.
That's your opinion. That's your opinion. I'm telling you this. I said name a person that was crowned the face prior to being a champion. You didn't give me none. All those people named.
I got a better one.
All those people. Hold on. Listen, bro. All those people you just named were people wanted to consider as somebody as a possibility. Nobody has gave them that. None of those people you named.
So why is Jason Tatum not the face of the league? Answer that.
I said he's a person I advocate. I didn't say he is. You're misconstruing words.
But I'm saying your basis is that until you win a championship, but it obviously is not just on that. There are several other factors that take into account of you being
right. But prior to me saying that, I said LeBron James and Stephen Curry, they're still in the league and they're still the face. I said I advocate for Jason to being the next, meaning once these guys put it down, who would I say? Jason Tatum is the face. He's already checked off everything you can say. The thing that's came out in this era that people want to talk about is aura, which to me is just an imaginary thing of seeing somebody's cool. Because there's plenty of guys that have been champions that cats didn't care about aura. It's about winning at the end of the day. You didn't say that about many of cats. So I'm saying Jason Tatum isn't right now. LeBron James, Stephen Curry is still in the league and their faces. That's what I'm saying. So I didn't say that. I just advocate for Jason. Okay. But Ja Morant, Zion Williamson, Anthony Edwards, come on now, bro.
I never said no. I said that they were going to be the next heirs that the NBA wanted to crown to be the face of the league.
That's fine, but I'm saying the point that I'm trying to make it because they haven't won though. That's a huge thing.
That's fair. I think this is semantics at the end of the day. The point that I'm trying to make is whenever LeBron came into the league, he was given the keys to the league at 18. And whenever I say that's false.
I can't let you do that, bro. That's too false. I can't let you finish because it's too false.
So why did Nike give him that contract? Why did Nike give him that contract then?
He was covered since he was in high school. They giving people contracts right now in college and high school. What do you mean? They ain't the face? What are we talking about? It's the evolution of the game, bro. Things like that are going to happen, bro.
Fellas.
It won't be the last.
Fellas, two things can be true in this sense. No, I don't believe LeBron James was the face of the league in 2003 because you have to remember what 2003 was. However, to Word's point, ultimate point, I have to agree. However, to Daryl's point, they did hand LeBron James the keys in 2003 and said, essentially, you're the chosen one. We're laying out the red carpet for you. I remember the opening night, the night he played against Sacramento, they did this whole commercial and the league did this 15, 20-minute pre-NBA opening where it was just about him and he had his own spotlight. So we have not seen anything like that since. And I do think the league was already saying to LeBron, we're pretty much ready to make you the face, but obviously, I do agree with Word. You have not won or done anything yet, so we'll give you the keys, but we can't make you the face. So I think both of you guys are right. LeBron did absolutely get the keys to the league in 03, for sure. He didn't become the face. I will say this, to Daryl's point, Word, and you might have to agree with this. I believe LeBron James may have become the face prior to winning, and I'm going to tell you when. When he scored the 28 straight points against the Detroit Pistons, sending that Cleveland Cavaliers team, who was virtually irrelevant in the NBA, and sending them to the finals. I believe the league at that point, who had already handed him the keys since his rookie season, pretty much made him a co-heir and a co-face of the league by that point, because he made it to the finals and they were like, good enough. You started winning, you're in the finals, you're competing for a championship, good enough, we'll make you the face. I believe that's probably when he was the face of the league. And let me just say one last thing. That season started it. What may have solidified it even before he won, given Daryl's point a little bit more credit, was when Nike did the puppet commercials, and it was him and Kobe going back and forth because they were trying to line up this idea of LeBron and Kobe being the ultimate rivals that would meet at some point in the NBA Finals and battle to the doom. LA versus Cleveland, LeBron, the chosen one versus Kobe, the best player in the league. So I do believe that they, in popularity and maybe even in crown, around that time, 2009, 10, prior to him winning, when he was on the verge, I believe that's when they made him the face. To word to that, you may say what?
I'm saying it looks like that in hindsight. When you're having these conversations, I'm telling you, bro, the conversation was not in real time, like during the era that we were experiencing it. Yeah. People were not walking around saying Bron is the face. It's like right now, Jason Tatum.
Not in 03. Not in 03.
I mean, even in that was 09, the year he missed Kobe in 09 versus the Magic when he was supposed to be there. It was plenty of people, bro. Or even if you look at the era right now, Jason Tatum, bro, got more commercials than anybody in the league, right? In hindsight, he goes on to get 3 rings, and you start to put all that together with him having a shoe deal, him having all these commercials, he's won. It's going to look better telling that story saying, yeah, he was the face. Right now, we're not walking around saying he's the face, though. Just as you just mentioned to me right now, he got the puppet show. He wasn't even winning championships back then. He just made it there, and he got swept.
Would you at least admit this? Though Tatum does get a lot of press, he does. He gets a lot of press.
Would
you at least say that even at that time, LeBron was a global star and low-key an icon even before he won around that 2009, 2010 time?
He was a global star.
In a way that Tatum is not, LeBron was something that like we still was like, it's Bron. Even then, I believe. I don't think that's a stretch to say that.
If
you remember, because I'm saying
he was a global star, but when you're saying somebody's crowned something, bro, it's basically what I'm saying is this. The way that Jordan has been crowned the GOAT and nobody has took the title from him, it's in that you have to take that. It's not just like here. You have to actually take it to where it's not even a debate no more. It's many of us still trying to say, how can we dethrone Jordan as the GOAT versus us looking at Bron and saying that's not a debate no more. He actually has that title, which no longer makes it debatable. So whether you're saying I'll agree with the point what you're saying. There were a strong emphasis on who the next face of the league was after Kobe, prior to him winning. Yes. That was LeBron James. Long before it was crowned to him, there was a vast foreshadowing of it happening. That doesn't exist for nobody in the league right now.
That they promoted like crazy.
Yeah, there was a huge emphasis on this is the guy, right? That don't exist for nobody. But if you say crowned, and that's the word to me matters. When you crown something, you have the title. There wasn't a debate that's at hand. So even if you say co-heir, you don't have it then. Because at that point, prior to that, Kobe had it. He didn't have to go and then take it and win. And then I say that's when he got it. Especially
Let
when
me ask you this.
It's moments in his career, bro, for me, that he just didn't wear NBA face on him. And it was LeBron James as the person and individual. Going down there in Miami, having to have that conversation, and him after failing in 2011, bro, having games where he scored 9, 11 points, and then you had to learn and have a conversation with, you know what? Wade had to say, this is your team, bro. Those type of things take away from any of the gloriousness that you want to wrap around him as the face. That matters to people like me, bro. That matters.
Okay. Word. And I think
it matters.
I don't know. I feel you.
We got to move on though, bro.
I know, but I got to say this. Kenny did make a good point. I think what you're doing is we got to separate two things. You're talking about from a very pure, authentic view of basketball as their legacy. And I'm not discounting any of that, because all of those things are true and they're fair. But what I'm saying as someone being the face of the league is, if we were to sit down with Adam Silver and there were no cameras around and we were to ask him, hey, who is the face of the league right now? He don't care about none of that. Or let me say this, that has a very small portion to do with his feeling of how the league wants to move with the marketing of who they want to have as the face of the league. Same for David Stern. If we were to have a conversation with David Stern in 2005, 2009, whatever time frame you want to ask, and you were to ask him, hey, who is the player in the league right now that you view as the next heir of who you want to have all the publicity? They would have never told you Kobe Bryant. They would have never told you Kobe.
Because you're saying
10 times out of 10, they would have told you.
Your words are saying what I'm already. You said the next heir, bro. Meaning at the time Kobe had it. You saying
Kobe never had it.
Kobe never had what?
I
Kobe
think
never had what? Being the face of the league?
No, Kobe was never that.
So you're telling me it went from Jordan to LeBron. There was nothing in between.
Well,
if there was anyone in between, it was Shaq.
Shaq?
Allen Iverson. Yeah.
What are you talking about, bro? Shaq. Bro, first of all.
Are you being serious right now?
I'm being dead serious.
Bro,
what
Shaq
are you
was
talking
the face
about?
Of that team. Shaq was the face on Kobe's team. What are you talking about?
It doesn't matter. Kobe, bro, we're talking about
when did Kobe win a championship without Shaq? When did he win a championship? You talking about chips.
Afterwards.
When did he win a chip without Shaq?
He won afterwards.
When? Give me the time. When was that? What year?
09 and 2010.
And what commercials were they doing in 09 and 2010? It was Kobe and LeBron. It was never definitive.
What happened in 08? Hold on. What happened in 08, bro? What happened in 08? Kobe wins the MVP. The 2 seasons before that, what happened? The nigga was averaging 31, 35, 30, 29. This is all Kobe prime. But we gotta move. I told you we gotta move, bro. Like this is weird. I don't even know how this argument got here, bro. But that opinion is blasphemous, bro. Nobody's mentioning Shaq in the realm of that. Anyways, man, let's try to get to this other segment of this Stephen A. responding to Brian on his episode. But first, let me actually play the clip when Brian was on Pat McAfee's right quick. Hold up, man.
Oh, we got the same background.
Bro, shut up, dog. Shut up, dog. I'm sick of this nigga, dog. What the hell are you talking about?
Please, obviously, to you and Stephen.
You got worked up, dog.
Hey, legit, that feels like a moment that had been brewing for a long time.
He's like on a Taylor Swift tour run right now.
Oh, yeah, we're watching it. We're also, you're seeing it as well.
He literally, it started off with, I didn't want to address it.
Yeah, sure.
I didn't want to address it. I wasn't going to address it. But since the video came out, I feel the need to address it.
Hey, are you not to talk about that?
Are you kidding me? If there's one person that couldn't wait till the video to drop so you can address it, it's your ass. Like, seriously, and like another, he completely missed the whole point. The whole point. Never would I ever not allow people to talk about the sport, criticize players about what they do on the court. That is your job to criticize or to, be in a position where, okay, if a guy's not performing, that's all part of the game. That's all part of the game. But when you take it and you get personal with it, it's my job to not only protect my damn household, but protect the players. And I think a lot of the media, including him, and I know he's gonna be happy as hell. He's gonna be smiling from ear to ear when he hears me talking about it. Oh my God, he's gonna get home and grab some ice cream out of the fucking freezer and sit in his chair and his tidy whities on the couch.
I hope at some point you two do get
relax, bro. Like, relax.
Tidy Whitey's comment was funny because I don't wear tidy whities. Let you figure out why that is. But moving on from that particular subject, I don't happen to consider anything that LeBron has said a laughing matter. So y'all want me to be serious? I'll be serious. And I know there's some people out there that's going to be like, oh, I'm milking the story for all it's worth. Well, I've been winning in television for quite some time. I don't need an incident like this to talk about LeBron, and I don't need an incident like this to get ratings. The real point at hand is this. LeBron James continues to lie. He hoodwinked y'all into thinking that he was upset about criticism about his son. If your son is a professional basketball player, and I was talking about your son as a basketball player, since you just went on Pat McAfee's show and said you would never knock anybody for talking about the game, then what is it that I said? What I said was, as a father, stop. I wasn't talking about you as a father, as somebody that's home, minding your business, and I just call you out because your son is in this position. That's not the father I've been talking about. That's why I've been addressing Draymond Green, who's been an avid supporter of LeBron on this matter. All I'm asking is for comprehension of the actual point. How do you mention Bronny James without bringing up how he got drafted by the Lakers?
He brought a lot of, and I like this conversation a lot.
You know what makes me mad about this nigga, bro? This nigga Daryl, bro. I'm watching LeBron James speak on the Pat McAfee show, and all I see, bro, in the corner of my screen is Daryl talking about.
Well, he loving everything.
I'm like, bro, Bron's not preaching right now, bro. And I'm gonna tell you why he's not preaching. What makes matters worse is not the fact, because I think cats get it misconstrued, and I like that Stephen A. said what he said. What makes matters worse is not the fact that Bronny got drafted. Hey, listen, bro. If you're LeBron James, like you said, Daryl, which I actually appreciate your point, by the way, even though me and you were going back and forth, LeBron James is worth so much to the league. If he wants to get his son in the NBA, cool. That's not even the point. There's a way to do it, though. There's a way to go about it. So there were actually teams, from what we heard on draft night, and Daryl, if you follow Bronny and LeBron James, you know I'm not telling a lie. Word as well. We heard leading up to the draft night, even on draft night during the telecast, there were franchises who were interested in Bronny James. The Phoenix Suns, the Boston Celtics, the Golden State Warriors, in that 50s, whatever, saying, hey, we'd be willing to draft the kid. The first round goes by. Nobody's thinking anything of it. They're like, man, I wonder if Bronny James would get drafted. In a round pick 35-36, a ticker comes across the screen. And we hear, oh, breaking news, tell me what you have. And you know what the pundit from ESPN says? He says, yeah, we just heard that Rich Paul is telling teams, if you draft Bronny James, we'll send him to Australia. So here's the thing. Pitiful, it's not enough. Let's break this down. Let's really have a real conversation. It's not enough that you get your son into the league. It's not enough that you exercise nepotism. No one's mad at that. White people do it all the time. People in positions of power do it all the time. No problem. But if you're going to employ your son, if you're going to make sure he gets into the league, why not do it organically? Why not do it naturally? Let me ask you a question, Daryl. Do you think we would even be having a conversation about Bronny James on this podcast if LeBron lets him get drafted to Golden State? He has this moment of getting drafted. They show him at the dinner table crying in his father's arms. He gets sent to the G League to go develop his game. Do you think we even have a conversation, or LeBron James even has a leg to stand on to address Stephen A. in the media? Because we probably wouldn't even be talking about LeBron James. Do you think we would still be having a conversation on this podcast?
Yes, we would.
Why?
Absolutely.
Why do you think we have a conversation on the podcast if he was drafted to Golden State and sent to the G League? I do not believe we would be having a conversation. Please educate me on how that would happen. How would that scenario play itself out?
Because LeBron James is the biggest athlete in the whole entire world. That's why.
See, this is
You asked me,
what you call grown man glazing, dog. This is crazy.
No.
I mean, bro, his biases when it come to Brian just pours through his pores. It's ridiculous. Like, it pours through your pores with this nigga, bro. You literally transform in our eyes, bro. Like, yeah, no, there's no way. This is only a conversation because by way of how he got drafted and where he got drafted to, bro.
So y'all think LeBron
Bronny James is not a Laker?
We're not talking about him if you're not a Laker.
Got drafted. If he's not a Laker, he got drafted organically. And he did what most teams wanted him to do and go straight to the G League to develop his game. Yeah. That would mean he would never be on an NBA court up until now, because this is around the time when players who finish out the G League get called up, if he gets called up at all. So that means there would be no footage of him in the NBA. And Stephen A. actually covered Bronny James for the first time because Bronny James got on the court opening night, which never happens for a 55th pick, by the way.
Crazy.
Whole photo op with Ken Griffey Jr. and all that foolishness that happened that night. Okay, no problem. Then a week later, he gets called up to play the New York Knicks. Has one of his worst games, terrible, looks trash and not ready to be playing out there. A couple weeks later, he has a few good games in the G League. JJ Redick calls him up again. He gets destroyed. JJ Redick has to answer questions about Bronny James and why he was even on the floor. He said, well, he played well in the G League. I thought maybe he can give us some minutes to energize us. Had he been on Golden State, had he been on Boston, had he been on Phoenix, he wouldn't have seen the court. So why would we be talking about Bronny James? Why would we be talking about 0.0 rebounds and assists? Because he wouldn't have any stats for us to talk about. He wouldn't even have no game footage. He might not even be playing for the G League team if Bronny got drafted somewhere else.
I agree.
What are we talking about?
I just want to ask you guys. One thing in regards to all this, because honestly, I don't think any of that matters to LeBron James. LeBron James has been in the league for 20 years. The media has actually done him a disservice, and actually speaking about him in ways that I feel his repertoire and his achievements actually deserve. But I think the point that LeBron made from all of this was he was trying to protect his family more so he's trying to protect his son. Correct?
From what?
I think that LeBron James did not feel the coverage that they were giving Bronny wasn't actually fair. And honestly, I gotta be honest.
Daryl, real quick, and I want you to get your full thing on. This is what I have to ask you. What happens? Two questions. One is rhetorical, then one I'm going to actually ask you. What happens when the people or you say I was trying to protect my family? What happens when the protection that your family needs is actually from your decisions? Because he's the reason why Bronny is even in this place to be criticized, ridiculed. Oh, he didn't get the proper chance to begin with. When you do things the way he did them, of course there's going to be a response. And he's the reason for it, which is why Stephen A. Smith said, bro, stop this. You talk about you want to be protected from your family or you need to protect your household. What's the reason why people in your household are in this position in the first place? Is it us or was it you? Did you want the photo op with Ken Griffey Jr.? Did you want him to make millions of dollars, never touching a basketball? Was it the media who tweeted out, "Oh, Bronny James is better than half the league before he ever touched an NBA basketball"? Was it you? Was it the media who tweeted out, as LeBron James said, "If you want me, draft my son. I'll play the game for free"? Was that the media? Who are you protecting? Who are you protecting Bronny James from, if not yourself? Answer that question.
Okay,
that nigga laid a clip off of that nigga. Hold on.
Pause. Let me say this, Kenny. All of those are fair points, but I think what you're not taking into account a lot. Did you guys see King Richard, the movie about Serena and Venus, the father? Correct.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, this is one line that you should never cross in your life. I don't care if it's your brother. I don't care if it's your best friend. I don't care if it's your sister. You don't tell anybody how to parent their child. That is one thing you should never do. And I think that's what this comes to. Listen, right, wrong, or indifferent. It don't matter how you feel about it. It don't matter how Stephen A. Smith feel about it. But that's LeBron James's child. So whenever you're talking about parenting decisions and what you should or should not do for your child, that is madly offensive. LeBron James has been in the NBA for 20 plus years, and he has never done this before. He has never gone on another show to speak about the criticism that someone has. He obviously has thick skin. He has never done this before. There's a reason for him doing this. This is out of his bro. Come on, bro. He's never.
LeBron has thick skin. Do you know?
Come on.
I don't even know if you're a LeBron fan. That's almost. It seemed like you don't even.
No, hey, Daryl, I'm gonna let you rock. Keep going, bro. Keep going.
Yeah, keep going. I just like some of this stuff is just mad annoying.
No, y'all tripping, bro. Y'all tripping because y'all making it seem like I'm crazy, but I'm just stating facts. LeBron James has never gotten criticized like this and has made the decision mid-season to go on another show to address. He's never done that before. This has never happened, and there's a reason for it because you're talking about his child. He don't see Bronny. No matter how we see Bronny, LeBron James doesn't see Bronny as a professional athlete. Number 9. No, he changed this man's diapers. You're talking about a parent. And that is one thing that Stephen A. Smith said. Whenever Bron had come and spoke to him, he said, you know what? I had to understand that this is a father that's speaking to me. That's what this comes down to. Y'all can say whatever you want about a number 55 pick and their time of playing in the G League. If he would have gone to Golden State, how many minutes should he have played? That JJ Redick should have called him. None of that matters. You're talking about someone's child. And that's the same reason why I said if this was Draymond Green, Stephen A. Smith would have moved differently. Because he would have Jordan Poole that man.
The thing I think Stephen A. did a great job at with responding to this. Like, he's not talking about the father that's in Brentwood, the father that changed the diapers, the father that is all those other things. This is, like, if you don't think anything that Stephen A. was warranted because this is only a father or parenting conversation, you're inaccurate. How can this not be a basketball conversation to where criticism is reserved, rightly so? You have to be able to speak about this and understand you can split talking to somebody and criticizing them as the decisions they made and put the pressures on their child on a basketball standpoint versus anything you want to say outside of basketball that's not related to that. He's not speaking about any of that stuff. This is basketball. You're on the Lakers and you got drafted, in the way you went about doing this with the statements, the tweets, warranted all of this. And honestly, bro, I'm going to keep it a bean. We're like, our generation is soft. 2025 niggas is weak. Like, literally, the weakness, I'm a person, bro, where honestly, bro, with me being a believer, bro, it will be many of different ways how I would speak on cats. I ain't gonna blame it on the generation. For me personally, it's because of my grace and me being a believer, the way I speak and mindful of cats. I would be far much blunt and rightfully respectful with my disrespect. But dog, this era, we going easy on Bronny and LeBron.
Give yourself a gunshot, word. Give yourself a gunshot, bro.
Like, this is not harsh how we're covering these dudes at all. Like, bro, I think because it's LeBron James, bro, like and I think LeBron James is capitalizing on who he is and the way he can manipulate this and the narrative around it. That's a part of his power. That don't make it right, though. Look past LeBron as LeBron.
That's what we're saying.
Look past LeBron as LeBron, and we would easily have this type of response, and it wouldn't be a problem. It wouldn't be a problem. The same way you saying if Draymond Green had a son and did it, all that stuff wouldn't be the same, then just flip that, bro. Take the criticism. And if this wasn't LeBron applied to that person, and there wouldn't be nearly as much flack, nearly as much pressure that's being put on Stephen A. to where the ESPN executive saying, oh, you got to talk about this. That wouldn't exist, bro. And I think that's messy because they are prioritizing ratings, having traffic, and they not even looking at from the standpoint is like, okay, well, what you like Stephen A. bro, do you not remember what Stephen A. said about Kevin Durant personally? And it was far beyond just him as a basketball player. I'm like, let's be real. What we doing here? What he said about Bronny.
We can't talk here. We can't talk nowhere.
Oh my God, bro. What he said about
that's a reality.
And honestly,
it's
bro,
a 2v1, but that's cool. It's a 2v1, but that's cool.
Nah, bro. That should be easy then, nigga.
Look, I'll tell you what this really is, Daryl. I just want you to be objective. Because the same way you're talking to no. The same way you're talking to me about if this were Draymond Green with Stephen A. blah blah blah. Bro, if Stephen A. was letting off a clip with Cayenne Anthony, would you be on this stage talking about some Melo was being highly disrespected?
He would never.
You would
hell no.
You would not.
Hell no. That nigga wouldn't even take a sniff of that.
Criticism.
You wouldn't be tripping off of that shit, man. Come on, keep it a bean. Keep it a freaking bean. Nigga, Paige Stojakovic.
If it wasn't the king, bro. If it wasn't the king,
if it wasn't LeBron, dog, niggas would not be nowhere as emotional as niggas is right now. I promise you, dog.
I think that's fair, bro. I think that's fair.
I'm trying to tell you, bro. And here's the thing. I don't even, it's a crazy psychology behind this. It ain't like Bronny nice and he don't deserve what he getting. Like the nigga was averaging zeros across all major stats. What are we talking about?
That's not the point that I'm making. That has never been an argument about. But I'm telling you, that hasn't been an argument.
All of this is connected because and it was kind of contradictory. He's saying he don't think you can take, like, that's somebody's job. You have you rightfully can criticize him, the player, Bronny, but you're saying you can't come to me as a father. but he's only talking about the portion of the father that is tied to your son as the teammate. He's saying that. He's not talking about your parenting skills as what the things you instilled in him as a child. He's not talking about you and the things and the principles you have in your home. None of that.
Word. Perfect segue, and then we should give Darryl the floor for this reason. Perfect segue, right? You say that's not the point. Okay, let's not talk about the stats. Let's not talk about Bronny as a player. Let's not do that. LeBron James on the podcast with Pat McAfee said two things that I need you to help me understand. He said, if of course, I would never impede on anyone talking about basketball and someone as a player. But then when you get personal, that's when it becomes my job. I got to protect the James family and household, right? He said
yes.
However, Stephen A. Smith has always, tell me if you can attest to this. This is my first question. Can you attest to the fact that Stephen A. Smith has always said, LeBron James, great father, great husband, philanthropist, I Promise School, actor, billionaire, this, that, and the third, and then said, Bronny James is a good kid, always comes from good stock, the wonderful Savannah James's parents, he comes from a great household. He's always said that about Bronny James's character, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. Second question is this. If this was about protecting your household, and all of Stephen A's negative critique has come from Bronny James's play on the court, and then you also say that you would never step down on anyone from talking about the game, how do you reconcile those two concepts? That Stephen A has always talked well about his son's character and well about his parenting, and the only negative comments he's given Bronny were about his game, yet it stopped shitting on my son and all of this other stuff. Tell me how that fits. Reconcile that for me.
I don't even know what the question is.
Reconcile how LeBron can say, I would never impede somebody on talking about the game, but I need to protect my family. Yet, Stephen A has always talked well about his family and always criticized his game. Tell me how these two statements are not contradictions. Tell me how they fit. Tell me what LeBron is trying to say in light of the facts that you agree to, that he's always talked highly of Bronny's character. So tell me what family you're defending if we're talking about personal and defending family, if we're not talking about his play on the court or sports. Help me understand.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to tell you, because as I said from the beginning, LeBron James had my assumption is LeBron James had a problem with them criticizing him on his parenting decisions as far as what he should or should not do for him and his family. I feel like that's...
Let me ask you right there what you said.
As it pertains to what? As it pertains to what, though, Darryl?
Everything that you guys mentioned beforehand. For instance, him not allowing other teams to draft Bronny.
Basketball.
Bronny playing... Listen, Bronny playing the first game of the season. Him not developing in the G League.
Basketball.
Okay, yeah, no. And those are all somewhat okay or fair points, but we're still talking about the greatest player to ever live. I think that LeBron feels that he should have the grace of being that individual that you should tailor the way that you talk about.
All right, let me ask you, fuck all that shit. Hold on, bro. Forget all. Let me start asking you personally now, bro. Like, let's keep it a beam. A nigga like that in real life, walking around me or walking around you, how do you engage in experience in regard those type of individuals like that? Let a nigga walk around you, whatever, because based on what you saying,
I don't talk about people's children. I don't talk about people's children.
But you're talking about what he feels he's earned. He's earned this card of grace on the back of what? His basketball greatness, right? I don't care.
It's more than just basketball greatness. It's more than just basketball greatness.
What is it? What else is it? What else is it? Based off of what you just said, that's what I gathered.
Yeah.
What you just said, he's the greatest of all time, so he deserves a grace card. That's what you said.
Let me explain. I'm gonna break this down.
You add more now, though. You ain't say what you finna say right here.
No, I'm gonna say it because this is the reason. This is another reason why I said Kobe was never the face of the league, because what LeBron James has done. I don't care who you want to argue with. LeBron James is probably, if not he's top two. It's really him and Barack Obama as the greatest black man in America, period.
Right.
And that's not just because...
This nigga's stupid, bro. I'm about to get this nigga off of me. This nigga being ridiculous.
Close
What?
up the
Because
podcast,
I don't even know how are
Close
you
up,
even.
bro. Let's
This
go.
is. I'm
What are we
almost
talking about?
the podcast.
Bro, what are we talking about? Let me finish. Let me finish. What I'm
Answer
trying to
the
say.
question. What
Let
I
me
don't care
finish.
who you are, though, bro.
Let me
and you still
finish
ain't
what-
answering it. This is just a glazed
What are you talking?
station for this nigga right now.
No. But that has to do with this. That plays
doesn't.
into this.
All right.
Yes, it
So what
does.
you gonna say,
Not
then,
to
bro?
you.
What
LeBron
you gonna say?
James.
Finish the point. This is
LeBron
crazy.
James is one of, if not the greatest black men in America. Because from the age of 18, not only was he thrusted into the spotlight, and not only has he not done not one thing to bring harm or shame to his family, to our culture. So I think that individual at the age of 40, at the age of 40, given this league 20 years, he thought that his family should be provided the grace to where the media, when they speak about him and his son, it should be handled with a sense of grace. That's what you're asking me. Now, do I think that's right, wrong, or indifferent?
Bro. You keep on talking about LeBron James. All these niggas is human, bro. I want you to understand, because I'm gonna credit this to you just being a younger nigga, bro. And you gonna learn as you grow. And look, I've always been the youngest niggas in the room. It was in positions just like you. You saying stuff that sounds asinine. Literally, bro.
No, this is maturity.
That's asinine. That's not maturity, bro.
Maturity.
Because you're trying to say, I don't know how you got to the estimation of him being a top 2 black guy of all time, which is just crazy anyway, right?
I didn't say all time. I said right now in America, right now.
What do you mean
continue.
right now? You
just go ahead.
why is Barack Obama like still right now? Like, how do you measure to put right now? How do you come up with any of that? Anyways, you got outside of basketball for me, and you're saying all of these
that has to do with it.
No, it doesn't, bro. I'm talking about as to why that doesn't equal to somebody giving you a grace card, speaking about you differently when it comes to warranted actual criticism. This is not made up shit as to why people are criticizing him as a player in that connection as his player and father with his teammate. All of that stuff has been warranted. You listed off all those things that Stephen A was criticizing. What do we say? Basketball out there, everything. We didn't say anything outside of that was crossing the line because he didn't say anything outside of that. And I'm saying, if you think that's why we should talk about him differently, we should not be critical as anybody else that's been before him, then that just shows me the ultimate reflection of your bias of this guy is on a whole different level. It's on a different level, bro.
Word. Let me ask you, Kyle, who was going to be on this podcast today. Kyle has children who play basketball. Yes. Let's say they were to make it to the league. If they had a horrible season, and you're still covering the league as you do right now, you're telling me you're going to speak the same way about his children as you would somebody else's child.
Is Stephen A. Is Stephen A. Is Stephen A. me in that equation?
Answer my question.
Because this is another question that has to come along with that. Is Stephen A. me in that equation to LeBron? Me and Kyle are best of friends. Stephen A. and LeBron is not. That's nowhere near remotely the same. Of course, Stephen A. is going to cover that differently. Of course, I would speak about my friend kids dearly.
Yes.
We have a relationship. But I'm so authentic with who I am in the brand that I put out. I can speak critically of my godchild in the context that fits where he respects. If I'm going to be that honest. You don't have to disrespect some, because I don't even think Stephen A. as not a friend still hasn't disrespected Bronny, bro. It's been warranted. He hasn't disrespected LeBron. He hasn't disrespected Bronny. It's been honestly, and this is why I say I don't know how you got to the idea that Bron has tough skin, bro. Bron has been one of the most passive aggressive athletes of all time. This is documented. This dude, I believe, has a lot, and maybe this is what happens when you don't speak and allow yourself to feel feelings and feel. You hold everything in for 22 years, right? You never be real and just not give these cookie cutter polished answers in the press conferences or post games. And after 20 years, you want to unload on the biggest nigga pause in media. This has came to a head. I believe This has been brewing. He's been had real emotions that he wanted to speak on, but hasn't. Just because you're not actually doing the work, right? Acknowledging what's stirring your feelings doesn't mean you're putting on a perfection runway. To you, that's what it seems like you're saying Brian has been this entire time. You can't sit here and tell me you believe Brian has not felt real emotions and ignored them and not dealt with those. And that's not healthy. That's not healthy for you not to actually be real with those feelings and the things that you need to deal with. To suppress them, I actually think it's doing more harm and it comes out in this type of way.
I agree, but that's the price that he paid to be the face.
The price he paid to what? Not prioritize your mental?
Bro, that's the price that you pay. That's the same reason why. That's the same reason why when quarterbacks get on the podium, they gotta take the hit for the team, even though that the offensive line wasn't blocking. That's the price you have to pay whenever you're in these positions. Whenever someone wants.
And you're going off of you're saying that's the price that you have to pay in order to what? Win?
No, to be the face of a league. That's the price you have to pay.
It's been plenty of other faces of the league that didn't that gave all these that didn't give these cookie cutter polished answers and just spoke how they actually felt. Anthony Edwards is a dude that you say was considered as a face. He very much doesn't have that approach.
It's a different era, bro. It's a different era.
Okay, hold on. Let's say Kobe then. Let's say Kobe then, brother. Kobe obviously said what's on his mind. Obviously. He obviously was unfiltered and raw. Bro, what are you talking about? I'm not finna go back to that debate. Whether you want to debate that on your own time. He's obviously, there has been somebody in the face of the league that obviously did it with a different approach. And you didn't have, and I ain't even saying he did it perfectly. I'm saying, based off of what we've seen, Brian walking up, if you don't think this was a result of somebody that didn't deal with what needed to be dealt with, say what was actually on their mind. And this also lends itself to another thing. Brian does, and this is why essentially I start to lend where I sat between this conversation on the Stephen A side. And the big reason why is because Brian has always, and I say this with the utmost respect, been a overt public liar. He says things that anybody in their right mind know is flat out lie. And honestly, they did a whole ad behind it, him trolling on it about the lying that he does in these conferences, interviews, and episodes. Like, come on now. Even the way we didn't even get to the Brian Windhorst thing, right? That was the one thing I thought was outrightly not in character of Brian. And did he deserve it? Is he somebody that covers Stephen A the way that covers Bronny the way Stephen A does? What warranted that, since you're so high on a character and him being a top 2 guy right now? What warranted it? Explain that. Because Brian doesn't do that. You don't want to deal with real right now, because what I'm saying, this all checks out. Tell me, what warranted that, since you're high on that? Come on. Give me something, bro. Don't look crazy.
It's 2v1, bro.
He just gave you the gospel, bro. I don't know what you're gonna do.
2v1.
He just gave you the gospel.
You not being the nigga that I know in real life. You out here talking about it's a 2v1, and I'm giving you valid.
Okay.
I'm giving you valid things to answer to, bro. Come on.
Bro, you gave me 7 different points. Tell me what you want me to
Let's
argue.
go with the latter. Answer the one with the Brian. This is still all about in the same space. Answer the one with Brian Windhorst. What warranted that, since you think Brian is somebody that's put on this runway of just not making things the way that he's done up until this point? What warranted that? Brian Windhorst doesn't cover Bronny the way Stephen A does.
Your argument was character, and I'm already praying for you to respond, because I don't know how.
That was never my argument.
As to why he deserves grace. As to why he deserved, you said it was character.
It had nothing to do with his character. No,
you said him as a top 2 black male right now. What are we saying?
Yes, a black male figure in America. Yes.
So that's not just about what he did on the court, though, right?
Yeah, it had.
So that's beyond the court. Character, business acumen, whatever you want to throw in there.
Yeah, and I would actually agree, and I would say that Brian, out of everything that he said during that interview, the one thing that was the most shocking to me was that shot at Brian Windhorst. because I felt like LeBron and Brian Wentworth, they had a good relationship. But I know people said that they had a falling out a few years ago, so I don't really know what's behind that. But for me, that was the most shocking part. That was the most shocking part of his interview with Pat McAfee.
All right,
what
cool.
What does it have to do with anything?
Well, what do you mean? What does it have to do with anything? You were talking about him being. You were giving reasons as to why he deserves to be not covered or said certain things about because he earned a grace card based upon more than just basketball reasons. And I'm saying, well, somebody that covers, this dude, Brian Windhorst, goes to bat for him in the most unruly ways that I felt like nobody, even when his back is against the wall, he only says the most positive things about Brian, right?
Yeah.
And I'm saying, okay, well, why did Brian respond in that way? He obviously isn't doing him a favor to not cover him more critically while
they had a falling out. I said that they had a falling out. People have talked about that they've had some type of issue that happened in the last couple of years.
Fine, that's what you say to that. The other thing I was talking about was when I mentioned him, like him as far as like how he is in interviews, episodes, podcasts, the religious way he goes about lying, saying things that you obviously know Brian is saying.
Like
bro,
what? I'm just asking.
Okay, let's talk about the moment.
I'm asking a question,
and I'm saying let's talk about the moment. Summer League, or this was like I don't even know if this is Summer League. Brian and I think the first time Brian and Bronny had a television interview, he talked about when he seen Bronny at a game as a child, and he did like a play. He didn't even describe it in detail. All I know is he told Savannah that from that play, from that shot, he knew at that moment he would be an NBA star.
Did he say NBA star? Did he say that?
Let's just say he was going to the league. It's probably along them lines is what he said. What? Just give me your raw. Be objective as you possibly can. Just give me your raw, immediate, objective response to that. Go.
Daryl?
It don't matter what. Yeah. Okay. Do I believe? Yes, I absolutely believe that.
My God. This is a Bron sexual. Get this nigga out of here, man. I'm done with this nigga, bro. I am sick of this nigga, bro.
This is the greatest way to close a pod ever in life. This is it.
Look at this nigga. He ready to be done.
the Pivot Podcast. Derek Stingley Sr. and Derek Stingley Jr. They're on the podcast, and Ryan Clark asked him. He said, "When did you know that your son was going to be great? Like, did you ever know when he was going to be in the league?" And Derek Sr. actually gave a very similar response to what LeBron James said. It was like it wasn't really even anything. Let me finish.
Go ahead. I'm finna ask
Derek
a question.
Stingley Jr., the cornerback who plays for the Texans, who's now the highest paid cornerback in the whole entire league. His dad was an NFL player. And he gave an example of a play that his son had during like a Pop Warner game. They were really young. He was like, it really, the athleticism wasn't even fully there. It was more so of like the IQ. He was like, in that moment, I was like, oh, we have something special here. So to answer your question, do I think that the greatest human being to ever touch a basketball would be better than you and me at analyzing talent at a young age? My answer to that would be yes.
Is Bronny James, would you say Bronny James is equivalent to the guy you just brought up the example, the football player's son? Like, or would you say they're in the same realm? You say he's the highest cornerback right now, highest paid cornerback right now, right?
What does that have to do with this conversation?
I'm just answer the question.
I know, but no.
Because you said that father.
Part of the question.
You said that father said something similar to what LeBron said about Bronny. I'm trying to paint that, well, maybe there is a vast difference in the talents between sons as to why he may have said that about his son versus why LeBron may have said it about Bronny. Bronny, do you think that football player's son got into the league off the back of nepotism?
No.
How do you think Bronny got into the league? Was it off of skill and talent?
I think that had to do. It was a part of it.
Was it off of skill and talent? The way you just said yes or no to the other one, answer yes or no to this.
Bro, not every question in life is yes or no. Sometimes there's gray areas.
Every question in life ain't yes or no when you are bisexual. Yes. That's what's going on.
Bro,
this is
man,
crazy.
Y'all tripping, bro.
You can't even answer that.
Y'all tripping. Bro, Bronny James had a heart attack. Bronny James was a McDonald's All-American. Y'all over here tripping, acting like this dude was a scum.
You know why?
Talking about?
You know why? You know why? The same reason why he got to the league. Because his father is LeBron James. You know who pointed that out, bro? Because Kendrick Perkins, you know how long he been around Brian, and you know how he actually is cool with Brian and wouldn't just be saying something for Brian. He's not Stephen A. Smith. I'm bringing up these other people in the conversation because everybody isn't sitting in the same place where Stephen A. is, but they're receiving similar treatment. So I have to start looking at the person who's hashing out that now, which is LeBron. And Kendrick Perkins has said some things that's been critical of Bronny James and how he snubbed other people to get in the All-America game. And he was somebody that calls LeBron the GOAT. He actually says LeBron is the GOAT. What does that say over there, man? Just be honest. Hey, I mean, it is like pulling teeth for this nigga Odell, to be honest, bro. This is crazy. I brought that up.
Drake. We don't talk about Drake. Come on, bro. We don't talk about Drake. Let's get past it.
We don't got to talk about no fucking Drake. Fuck all that shit. Hey, man, look. You got to deal with the raw, cold facts of this nigga and Bronny and LeBron James, the way that he responded in this manner, and how a lot that's what's came out has been warranted, bro. Because at this point, the only thing you've been somewhat open and honest about is, and you just say you were surprised at how LeBron ripped Brian Windhorst. And then you still tried to throw a caveat in there of saying, well, they had a falling out a few years ago. You at this point, you're not even critical of LeBron at all in this segment.
I am.
In what ways?
Bro, listen, I said at the end of the day. No, bro, no.
He looked at her. Come on.
I said at the end of the day, this comes down to him being a father. I'm not saying it's right, wrong, or indifferent. Do I think that Bronny was the best player in the league?
LeBron. You have been conditioned to the jargon of LeBron, bro. Did you just see how you did what you did? You still couldn't be critical of that in that moment. You literally just like summarize how you wasn't critical of him again.
Okay, you answer. How do you want me to criticize him? Like, what is the critique you guys want me to make? I'm confused.
I asked you about.
No. Wait. No,
I'm asking you. What do you guys want me to critique?
Let me.
His parenting skills.
This is
what do you want me to critique?
No, go ahead, bro.
Hold on,
you want me to critique?
Hold on.
Tell me.
I'm answering you, bro. You can if somebody says, let's just say, we'll keep it general. We won't even talk about LeBron James because I'm not even sure objectivity can come from you on that side. If somebody says, Daryl, man, was my record dope? You know, what did you feel about it? And some other cats in the room start giving legitimate critiques. Hey, man, your mix was terrible. Now the mastering wasn't loud enough. Hey, man, you know, you could clean up A, B, and C. I would use effects here instead of third. But that's your guy. That's your guy. But you know that everything that was been said in the room is true. And you go and you turn around and you say, hey, man, honestly, you know, my critique would just be that there's so much more work that you could put in. You know what I'm saying? So I would just say you got to put in more work. That's not a critique.
That's not being real.
You saying that in light of your guy is not a critique. That's not what we would even classify as a critique. So you can't say, well, how do you want me to critique him?
You're just filling up space with those words, bro. You're not even you're not giving any corrections.
Critique it, bro.
I'll give LeBron a critique. If there's one thing that I agree with Word on a personal level, now I do think LeBron from the place that he sits, more so from a status level, I understand why he doesn't do it. But from a personal level, I would actually agree with Word that I feel like LeBron has not been that authentic his whole career. LeBron has more so given a polished presidential candidate type of responses to a lot of things in life. So I do agree with Word. I think a lot of this has been bottled up, and that has played into some of the frustration and anger LeBron has had towards the media in this. Now, is it for me to say that that's right or wrong? No, I can care less. For me, I love LeBron as a basketball player. Simply as that. Like, you know, like
let me stop. You love this nigga beyond basketball. You said he is a top 2 black male in this generation now behind Barack Obama.
That's beyond loving LeBron James as a basketball player, bro.
Yeah, hold on.
I don't know what you talking about.
You said you only love him as a basketball player. That is a compliment that is beyond basketball reasoning, bro.
That's a lie. I'll be honest. That was a lie. I got caught up in my words.
You see, I hate when niggas. I hate when reality hit niggas in the aftermath, bro. I don't like that shit, bro.
But I was being honest. Why are you getting upset with me being honest?
You wasn't being honest. You wasn't being honest in the heat of the moment.
2 seconds ago, he wasn't being honest, which is why he had to say that was a lie. I'm just saying, bro. Like,
and he talking about the people. And he had, Kitty, and he talking about the people of your generation like to deal with emotion and let's deal with facts.
Y'all do.
Oh my God, this nigga has been a walking contradiction this entire. He opened up the segment with a quote and just walked the opposite way the entire time.
Ready to get up here. I thought you was getting ready to get up here, bro,
and destroy.
I mean, you was about to listen.
That nigga went straight down the emotional roller coaster.
I thought you was getting ready to get up here and do that. For the last 45 minutes to an hour, you've been telling us nothing but how LeBron could feel and how parents may feel about a situation.
But that's what this comes down to. Stephen A. Smith even said that.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
But I'm telling.
No,
I'm trying to.
Hey, let me get in here right quick. Let me get in here right quick. I wanna. We gonna start wrapping up, but I wanna ask a few. Just like let's take. Like let me ask you right now, Daryl. How do you, apart from this, just in general, how do you regard Stephen A. Smith at his profession?
Oh, bro, he's the LeBron James of his profession.
This nigga. You almost killing yourself from question one.
You one of the greatest.
I like the answer though. I like the answer. He's consistent. I like that. I love the answer. That's real. That's real. That's real.
Yeah, he gotta keep it real, but it's crazy because the LeBron James of the media and journalism world is up against the LeBron James that Odero loves the most. All objectivity and just common sense goes out the window. It goes out the window.
Hey, word. You know what I know what's so crazy about? You want to know what's so crazy about him saying that though?
Yeah.
He says LeBron James is LeBron James. If he wanted to, he could end Stephen A's career. Then he equated Stephen A to the LeBron James. Wait. Then created Stephen A to the LeBron James of media. And if you think you can get rid of the LeBron James of media that quickly, no sir, you cannot. He's been there before.
Like that's why,
James,
and that's the reason why I start asking some of these questions to see where. The reason why I start asking some of these questions because something has to be consistent. Like it can't be this on this side, but then also
I'm very consistent.
But that don't make sense. That statement, what he just brought up about Stephen A. being LeBron James of the media world, but LeBron James can end Stephen A. as if he isn't LeBron James of the media world. It just doesn't math. That wouldn't math that way, bro. Like it wouldn't.
Exactly.
And the other thing is, bro. The other thing is,
he's an employee.
He is, but he's an employee that can stay on the airwaves longer than LeBron James could.
But even beyond that, you understand that the Stephen A. Smith show is close to closing in.
You got that.
So even if he gets fired by ESPN tomorrow, do you think that show that has garnered the most attention in the world, he's good regardless now?
Let me ask you this.
Listen. Let me just say this.
Yeah, go ahead. Come on. I'm finna walk this nigga Daryl down.
I'm up against it, but I'm gonna keep it 1,000 with y'all. Do you understand that Stephen A. Smith's contract is bigger than 72% of the NBA as a journalist?
Yeah.
I don't think you understand the type of person you're talking about whose career can be ended. Bro, he just got offered a contract of over $110 million as a journalist, bro.
Yeah.
As a broadcast journalist. You're not ending that dude's career if you're LeBron James or not.
Yeah.
No way. Not
Darryl,
even close.
if Darryl, how do you revere Joe Budden?
Oh, Joe Budden, he's the LeBron James of podcasting.
and if it just gets funnier. If Stephen A. was in a world, let's just say he's whatever in television, will he not be somewhat of what Joe Budden is in podcasting? Because Joe Budden looks up to Stephen A.
Yeah. I mean, what's the point? What
I'm just saying, like, all these, the point is, bro, I'm trying to paint the picture of how I'm going back to what you were just saying about how LeBron could easily end Stephen A. Smith. And I just don't think you were actually in your right mind while saying that. Because like Stephen A, bro, and that's why I wanted to know, how do you regard him? Maybe you don't look at these guys the same way I look at them. Like Stephen A is that guy, bro.
Look, I agree. Look, Stephen A, and just for anyone out there, Straight Shooter is one of the greatest books ever written. One of my favorite books that I've ever read. But I think the point that I was trying to make in that in regards to LeBron and Stephen A, yes, some of that is semantics. Some of that is, for the show. Some of that is for, I got to be a little bit showy. But
yeah, some of it is just the side effects of being a bronzexual. Just say that, man.
More of the story is that I'm trying to make that LeBron, okay, the same way that Kendrick Lamar was able to put a dent in somebody like Drake, who is so big. We almost, and some people looked at him as untouchable, but you could still be touched. Yeah, no one could ever take Drake off.
I'm on the side of anybody and everybody can be touched. I'm with you on that.
And that was the point that I was trying to make with LeBron and Stephen A. Smith. LeBron could do stuff that could have a negative impact on Stephen A's journalism career. That is just a fact.
I give you that, fellas. Yeah, man. This one's gonna have to pick up, man. Hopefully we be back at this mug. How y'all feel about getting back at this mug? Going. We can get back in there.
We can get back in there this week to wrap up whatever we gotta wrap up. We gotta do more. No, seriously. We gotta, because the reality of the situation is, I don't even know if we've gotten to a resolution for this conversation the way that we need.
I haven't even gotten to all the shit I wanted to get to with this. It just took a life of its own. I just went with it. So, yeah,
let's
man.
Let's get it.
Go ahead, Kyle. Make sure Kyle here next time, because that's what.
I can't wait to talk to Kyle.
I just noticed what this nigga Daryl was doing. He know what kind of Kyle guy is. He wanted to be a 2v2.
Y'all gotta stop with this. Pause, because y'all be here calling me out my name, bro. Calling me out my name.
If I called out your name, man, my apologies. All in love of this podcast, bro.
I can't wait till that clip go up, word. I can't wait till it go up.
I'm a follower of Jesus Christ first. All right, y'all remember that. I ain't no Braun, whatever you want to say afterwards.
Hey, look, dog. I need it. Well, let niggas know at least. Don't see this. Is what I'm saying. He want to say that after Bron and all show. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ, but he did Bron all through 95% of the show.
Hey, listen. Next episode when we had this conversation, Daryl, them facts that I was looking for. Listen. Here's the thing, bro. Let me just say this about this, and I want the people to know this too as we wrap up. I am not a LeBron hater. I think LeBron James is easily the greatest player of our generation. It's not even close. I respect LeBron James on that level. I think as it pertains to basketball, what he's done for the game, what he's done as a global ambassador, all the things, bro. LeBron deserves all the adoration we can give him. But LeBron be capping, and he's not right about this. And that level of objectivity should be able to be had. I should be able to say LeBron is the greatest player of this generation, and also say he's out of pocket, he's out of line, and he's switching his arguments. He's switching his arguments because he doesn't want to be honest about what the real situation is. Now, if there was a situation where Stephen A. called Bronny out of his name as a person, as a man, his character, anybody in his family, then I would agree with his sentiments on Pat McAfee. I would say, yes, absolutely. As a man, protect your family. Do whatever you need to do whenever a man disrespects your family. But everything Stephen A. Smith said, by your admission, was about sports and basketball, which means you were in your feelings. Period. If it wasn't about basketball, if he said something about Savannah, if he said something about Bronny and how he heard that he was a troublemaker or something like that, or defamed his character, me and you wouldn't even be having a disagreement. I'd be on your side talking about, get him, Daryl. But there's nothing to get when somebody's capping and you trying to defend somebody who's lying. You trying to defend a lie. You can't do it. You can't do it, dog.
I'm going to say this to Daryl, dog. I don't care what a nigga got. I don't care what bitch is on his arm. I don't care if you think that nigga is the greatest. Look, I'm going to just say this. If that nigga ain't Jesus Christ, bro, don't nobody is above criticism, being approached, being talked to, none of that, nigga. Bron can get talked to by any and everybody. That's just what that is. And niggas gonna realize one day that's just gonna be the truth, bro. It is. Whether the niggas like it or not, bro. I'ma just keep it a bean. This is outside of basketball, bro. Believe that.
But Joe
All right,
Budden
man.
don't-
Look, hey, shout your Instagram and shit out and get off this TV, man.
They tripping,
Fuck
bro.
all
They
that shit.
tripping, bro.
Let niggas
Bro,
know
hey,
before we get out of here.
Look, no, bro, they tripping, bro. Hey, at DJ Darryl on all platforms. You already know what the deal is. Top 3, not 2 or 3. Southeast Houston, Texas. What's up?
All right, nigga. Texas Tech, turn that shit up and down. It'll be Texas less, nigga. I can't wait till this nigga pull up, boy. Oh, yeah. I'm ready to let off a clip right now on this nigga, man. Hey, let them niggas know, Kenny G.
Hey, man. Hey, Kenny Clarity. Kenny Clarity with a K on social media. Get back at me. Got some things coming down the pipeline, but glad to be back on the Word of Clarity, man. I'm tapping in with the family. Love y'all, man. Y'all already know what it is.
Yes, sir, man. It's your boy Word. It's just _Word everywhere, man. Follow us at the Word of Clarity podcast. You know what time it is, man. We back for another episode soon. Make sure y'all hit the like, comment, subscribe button. Thanks for watching. We out of here.